Mr. President, I implore you, call for a civil war. Call for a civil war and let us do our thing. Let us go door to door, street by street, and clean this country.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Shhhcrets. Before we get into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like raw, unfiltered opinions and the kind of truth that makes folks squirm a little. So, let's get into this update about Charlie Kirk's assassination because the details are finally out. The killer has been caught. His name is Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old white, let me repeat that, white, Caucasian male, raised in a Republican household where guns weren't just normalized, they were practically worshipped. His family are confirmed Republican affiliates, and listen, when I heard that, I exhaled in relief. Honestly, I felt like breaking out in one of those viral clips where you see Black folks dancing and celebrating, because that's exactly the energy it gave me. Not celebrating Kirk's death, but celebrating the fact that the shooter wasn't Black. Because if this shooter had been Black, it would have been open season.
Announcing those words our country was waiting for. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. The three-day manhunt for Charlie Kirk's suspected killer comes to an end. The suspect identified as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Officials saying Robinson's father recognized him as the person of interest and told his son to turn himself in. They say Robinson refused at first, but later changed his mind and was arrested with the help of the family's youth pastor, who is also a U.S. Marshals Task Force officer. It all happened in St. George, Utah, about 260 miles from where Kirk was killed. Authorities say Robinson was perched on a rooftop more than 100 yards from Kirk when he fired that single shot at the conservative activist as he was speaking on the campus of Utah Valley University. They say family members describe Robinson as becoming more political in recent years and had talked with his family about not liking Kirk's views. 31-year-old Kirk had become a major figure in the conservative youth movement and was even known as the Trump Whisperer.
No questions asked. Republicans and white nationalists would have used it as a green light to double down on anti-Black rhetoric, to justify violent retaliation, and to paint every minority as a ticking time bomb. And if the shooter had been a Democrat or left-leaning, Fox News and every conservative outlet would have run with it nonstop. Proof that liberals are violent, dangerous, and out of control.
We're in a war. The left has been saying put a bullseye on Trump, a bullseye on his supporters.
Charlie Kirk's a casualty of war. We're in this country. We are.
They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it?
Is war. I'm not saying that. That is how many conservatives are responding to this Charlie Kirk thing. It is out of control. And I have to say, it is really scary. There's so much going on. Like, they don't even know who the shooter is right now. And they're blaming left-wing, liberals, all of this stuff. They don't even know who it is.
Disgusting. Take a look at this compilation of Jesse Watters as well as several other very influential people on the right calling for a civil war after the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. I've also got multiple different social media posts from people on the right calling for the exact same thing, but look at this video first.
We're in a war. The left has been saying put a bullseye on Trump, a bullseye on his supporters.
Charlie Kirk's a casualty of war. We're in this country. We are.
They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us.
Keep in mind, millions of people are watching these guys speak. I mean, Jesse Watters is saying that on Fox News. That's unbelievable. To make things even worse, we still don't even know the political party affiliation or the motive of the unaliver, and they're already jumping to civil war. Here's a post from this popular cartoon account on Twitter saying, the unaliving of Charlie Kirk is a turning point in the USA. I hope those leftists understand what they've wished for. He posts a cartoon here of a Democrat saying, pray didn't help Charlie Kirk, did it? And then this guy says, no, I was praying for you for what's about to come. Then Andrew Tate, who's not even from the United States and is a human trafficker, just said civil war. That was his reaction. And you already know this horrible account is playing into it as well, saying this is war. But they're fighting with themselves because this guy pointed out something very important, saying, I would like it to be noted that every Democrat on Twitter from Gavin Newsom to Brooklyn Defiant is condemning the unaliving of Charlie Kirk, but not a single Republican condemned the assassination of Melissa Hortman. We are not the violent ones. We are not the ones who commit these terrible acts a majority of the time. When will you guys understand that? We want to end firearm violence in this country. It's happening to way too many people across party lines, and it has to stop.
This is what people don't get. The act of violence is only half the story. The narrative afterward is what really shapes public reaction. And Republicans are masters at spinning tragedy into propaganda. After Kirk's death, many conservative talking heads were already irresponsibly inciting violence, already predicting civil unrest. They weren't mourning, they were salivating, waiting for an excuse to unleash their base. But now that the truth is out, I can't help but speculate. Will they still push for the death penalty like they were screaming for before they knew who pulled the trigger? Because I'm already noticing people dialing back.
We also have Rep. Nancy Mace, who wanted to bring back the death penalty when she thought it could have been a trans killer, which doesn't really happen. But now she's saying, we truly believe if Tyler Robinson had ever sat down with Charlie Kirk, the great debater, the man of faith and grace he was, Tyler wouldn't have pulled the trigger. And she also...
They're going to make it seem like it was this one guy, right? Just this one deranged lunatic. But I don't think it was. And I don't think that the shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania was just one guy either. You know, I think it's MK Ultra. I think it's mind control. I think it's a psyop. So it's going to look like it was just one guy. But you better believe there's a whole ass machine behind that working to make shit like this happen. Because, you know, Charlie Kirk was a very young guy. He was college age when he started going to college campuses and talking to fellow constituents his own age about politics and ideology. Completely and utterly open to all ideas and sharing of ideas. Never violent. But he was devastating to the Democratic Party. His voice altered and changed a lot of people's minds. And they didn't like that. So you can call me crazy. You can call me a tin hat conspiracy theorist. I don't give a shit what you call me. But you won't change my mind. Tyler Robinson, the white guy from Utah that executed Charlie Kirk. Now the liberals they're coming out wild. What do you feel about a white guy? I mean, if you saw my comment section, there's not enough time in the day. But I'm sure that they're not hearing on their news sources that Tyler Robinson, although a conservative family, had been radicalized in recent years with a woke liberal ideology to his immediate family and close friends in testimony to law enforcement. In fact, just mere days before the incident, he was having dinner with family and discussing how much he disliked and hated Charlie Kirk. I think he wrote a few things on bullets, too, that were indicative of a liberal woke ideology. So my initial instincts when I watched the execution of Charlie Kirk in real time was dead on. Tyler Robinson, the man in custody for executing Charlie Kirk, yes, he was a white guy. And the liberals are coming out in full force as if race ever had anything to do with my outrage when I witnessed the execution of an innocent man before my eyes. Because race never even entered the equation. But yes, he came from a conservative family. But according to close family and friends in statements to law enforcement, he had been radicalized with a woke, liberal, progressive ideology in recent years and was very angry and very, very hateful.
Suddenly, it's pray for the perpetrator. Suddenly, the tone is softer, less furious. Is it because he's young? Maybe. But let's be real, it's mostly because he's white. They see themselves in him. They see their own sons, nephews, brothers. They sympathize with his Republican family and spin it as, this could happen to any of us, good family, good values, and then the kid just went rogue. That's the privilege at work. And here's the kicker. Utah still has the death penalty by firing squad at that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out legally. But I can already predict the outcome. The system will be gentler on him than it ever would have been on a minority, especially a black man. That's the sad truth. Now, let's talk about who Tyler Robinson actually was, because his story gives us some insight into what may have led up to this. Robinson was living with a transgender partner, identified in reports as Lance Twiggs, who has been cooperating fully with the FBI. Public records and family members confirm the two shared an apartment, and friends describe Robinson as an avid gamer, known online as Crafton247. He logged over 2,000 hours on Steam and at one point even used Donald Trump as his username. Incriminating texts tying him directly to Kirk's murder were turned over to police by Twiggs, who has been described as aghast at the shooting. But here's the twist. While Twiggs is cooperating, Robinson himself is not. He's refusing to work with investigators. And when you put all of this together, you see the contradictions. He was raised Republican, lived in isolation, and was in a relationship that Kirk's own rhetoric demonized. The irony writes itself. Kirk, who made a career out of vilifying people like Robinson's partner, was taken out by someone living that very reality. And the irony is almost poetic. Charlie Kirk, who built an entire career grifting off hate, pushing division, targeting minorities and Democrats, is taken out by someone from his own party, his own race. It's wild when you think about it. The hypocrisy is glaring, and yet you can already see how quickly the narrative is shifting to protect, not condemn, because at the end of the day, whiteness always finds a way to shield itself.